All right, meanwhile, this week, or should I even remind you, from Saturday, the interim governments and Ambazonians are all interested in the proposed bill by President Samuel Ikome Sako. Now, this bill is going to change the face, the narrative of Ambazonians, but it depends on how you say it. That is, if you believe that President Samuel Ikome Sako and the government, or should I go back to the interim government, which is about to be changed anyways, is proposing something that would give Ambazonia a face a lift. Well, we have someone in the studio who is going to do justice to this topic. We had him yesterday where we started analyzing this, but we would continue until Thursday when the president puts a final signature on this particular bill, and by then it will become a law. All right, we have Barrister Tim based here in the studio right now, and we have very few questions for him. I'm sure Stas Much would want to start this particular questions, right?
Good evening, Barrister Tim. Let's be sure you can hear us and we can hear you too. Good evening, Barrister Tim.
Yeah, good evening for having me. Thank you for having me. I'm right here.
All right, you're welcome. Well, the proposed bill by President Samuel Ikome Sako for the signing of the revised constitution and the proclamation of the restoration of the government of Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia into law marks a significant shift in the political spectrum of Ambazonia. Now, this act has the potential to change the global geopolitical framework for Ambazonia and could be used to their advantage in the current international political landscape. Now, with the impending signing of the bill, which is to happen on Thursday, just in 2 days, Ambazonia is set to enter a new phase of political legitimacy and recognition on the world stage. This move could also signal a shift in alliances and diplomatic relations for Ambazonia as they seek to solidify their position as a legitimate government entity. Well, this historic moment will undoubtedly have a lasting impact on the future of Ambazonia and could be a turning point in their quest for independence and sovereignty. Oh, well, furthermore, the act impact the ongoing conflict between the Cameroons, potentially influencing the strategies and alliances of the parties involved. It may also spark discussions and debates in the global community about the sovereignty and self-determination of Ambazonia, drawing attention to the plight of its people and the need for a peaceful resolution to the conflict. Overall, signing this bill represents a crucial moment in Ambazonia's pursuit of political change and recognition. Well, it would also be interesting to see how Ambazonia utilizes this development to navigate the complex web of international relations and pursue its goals within the global geopolitical framework. Now, Barrister Mbesiha, my question for you would be, as the chairperson of the Amazonian Judiciary Commission, how did Commission work to ensure that the signing of the revised constitution and proclamation of the restoration of the government of Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia into law is carried out smoothly, effectively, and lawfully? Please tell us how.
I think asking the right question to the wrong person, because the Judicial Council does legal issues. The smooth running of how the president signs a bill or how he manifests in public is not part of the judicial activities. I should have thought that, as we did yesterday, this should only be an opportunity for us legally to tell Ambazonians, one, the Republic people, two, and the international community, three, why these proposed changes are beneficial to all these three groups legally. That is what I think is better for us to deal with. And if you do allow me to take it from that perspective, I will try to analyze a few things that would help them, everybody, us Ambazonians. Two, the Republic citizens and politicians. Three, the international community, our sympathizers. As I said yesterday, these changes, they look minimal and momentous in the whole struggle. For the Ambazonians, all of us, opposition and the people, they should take advantage of this approach. Changing names, bringing back our institutions, because that's what it is all about. Whoever is for Amazonia should see this as an advantage, legally, tactically, or strategically for Ambazonians. For Republic politicians, legal minds, and the public over there, this is your own advantage. It helps you. Because they have been always asking the question, we don't know whom to talk to. It narrows the question and tells you the person you should talk to. As simple as that. It helps you further. There's been this talk for the past 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Let Ambazonians come together and tell us exactly what they want. That question should no longer arise, because this question answers to you to understand what Ambazonia wants. We don't need a conference anymore of 200, 300, 10,000 Ambazonians to explain what we want. This tells you, as I said yesterday, Ambazonians want a restoration of their institutions. Simple as that. You don't need to go back to school to know what a state institution is. They want a restoration of their government as it existed in 1961. They want a restoration of their own institutions, their own House of Assembly. They want a restoration of all the facets of administration that existed in them, that was supposed to work parallel with the central government in Yaoundé. These things have all disappeared for no good reason without the consent of Ambazonians. And again, for you, that Republic people, politicians, and legal people, it makes you to understand that this struggle is not about development. It's not about digging roads. It's not about building schools. We did not purportedly vote to join you in 1961 for you to come and help us build our schools. Neither did we join you for you to come and build roads for us. Now, as of now, you know, Ambazonia economically is capable of constructing their own roads, doing the infrastructure they want. Intellectually, they are capable of setting up their own universities the way they want. So it is not a question of begging President Paul Biya to declare in Kumba, declare another one in Kambe, declare another one wherever, in Sabangari. That's not what is at stake. That's not what the struggle is all about. These changes narrow down the issues, what we want. In clear, simple terms, we don't need 20 days, 10 hours to let you know that. Understand that Ambazonians want a return of their institutions, a restoration of what they have institutions. It helps you. To whom will you talk? How will you do it? You should narrow down your answers. It helps you. Who would try to analyze that it was not a reattachment, a reunification. The legal meaning behind that is clear. Why? Some of you may not know, some people might not know, but I think most of them know. They insist on this issue of reunification. Like I'm to say reattachment. That's a political motive behind it. The political motive is to turn the struggle into a different thing. Like you hear them now complaining, we're fighting. They say, why? Why are you fighting? The same problem that I have in Oya, in Mamfe, in Bamenda, there is the same problem in Betua. There are some problems facing in Garawa, and so on and so forth. No, they are not facing the same problems. Our problems are institutional. There was never an assembly called the Parliament of Betua, or the Parliament of Garawa, or the Parliament of Douala or Yaoundé. No, that's not what it is. So this idea of reattachment, because we want to narrow down the issue that we want to look for. Again, going forward, you should know that it is not those things that you are thinking. It is not about Anglophones, as you call them, coming down into a certain meeting, which they might even refuse to have, to sit down and vote. This is what we want here only. It is not about choosing between a federation and one Cameroon, one indivisible Cameroon. No, it's not a question about the federation. The federation was a form of state that came in on our own choices. When you went to discuss these issues called federation, we were sitting there in two delegations. The delegation from the government of Cameroon and the delegation of the government of Southern Cameroon. That is what purportedly brought you what you call a federation, which you even abolished. So we want to go back to the drawing board, bring back those institutions. If we must negotiate for another federation, we want those institutions back. And so I guess every single Ambazonian who is reasonable will see that this is the best approach. This is the simplest way to outline the problem. This is the best legal explanation we can give to the changes that are coming, that are there at the door. And so
Yeah.
I think we should use it like that. I think if you have further questions, you may ask.
Yeah, and the way you're sounding and speaking is very obvious that you're talking from experience because I understand from research that you served with the UN in conflict zones like Ivory Coast, and you have lots of experience. How do you plan to engage government and involve even the Judiciary Commission in this diplomatic activity? Because as is related to the signing of the revised constitution and even the proclamation of the restoration of the government of Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia into law. How do you intend to do this? Because right from this answer, you've shown that you have lots and vast knowledge in this, not just in written form, but also in experience.
Uh, Let me say this. If you are looking for my help through experience, uh, before going to the Cote d'Ivoire, as in the same capacity in Burundi, actively conducted in Burundi, where we had the president, now just died. And then it is familiar or moved to the Cote d'Ivoire. And while in Burundi, a number of things came across my mind. I learned a lot of things from Burundi. People may not know, Burundi and Rwanda were trust territories. Burundi, Rwanda, there was one. These were German protectorates, which were handed both to Belgium, to administer just like they handed also UK. And after the administration there, the Belgians thought that Burundi and Rwanda should be two separate countries. That's why you have today Rwanda. That's why we have today Burundi. They have the same history like us. They were protectorates. They were protectorates, subsequently trust territories. But there's something I learned, specifically in Burundi. In Burundi, there was a town, the middle town that, or the largest town, they called Moronvia. Moronvia was the middle of the place. The Belgian administrators, like the British, had learned something in Burundi. They learned that chiefs play an important role in the community. And in Burundi, in Muramvya, the town of Muramvya, they opened a school for the training of chiefs. That building is still standing there. But was abandoned over there. Who came there? I said, look, I told the man who was trying to organize the people, I said, why do you leave this thing to just disappear in the bush? You think the white man who created this school was a stupid man? He was a Belgian, he was not a black man. We realized the importance of chiefs. Then again, something surprised me there. It's very, very surprising that many people don't know. When you hear about the Tutsis and the Hutus, what comes to my mind, or to everybody's mind, it was in my mind before I went there, was that these were two different ethnic groups. They are not, they are the same people, they speak the same language. And they live among themselves. There's no village for the Hutus or what. No, they live among themselves. So, but they were able to fight each other and die. They were killed in the name of genocide. The first of the genocide in Burundi was the Bishop of Gitega. They killed him. He was the very first victim. And so that should bring me back to this experience that I have. Can that be useful to this government? Yes, I can. If people are prepared to listen to me. Can I be useful in the whole process? I could, if I'm still alive. And if people are prepared to listen to my own advice. So, there's symbolism in what we do. And symbolism is important. Symbols count a lot. That's what I've learned from that. Symbols count a lot. That's why I bring back the history of this school of chiefs in Burundi, in Muramvya. They call it Muramvya. So these are symbols that represent something in the country. If you let the symbols get rotten, die in the forest, you lose a lot of your culture. If the symbol of the chieftaincy had been improved in Burundi, probably they would not have had the genocide. So it brings us to what we've been saying here. The Francophones, I've said this before, they have no idea about the House of Chiefs because they never had one. Since they didn't have one, they don't know why we needed a House of Chiefs, why it was important for the others in council instituted the House of Chiefs. The others in council came from London. They were passed by British Parliament. But the British had the experience of ruling through indirect rule. The chief did everything, the funds did everything for them. So they knew the importance. So can we capitalize on this? Yes. We can capitalize on this by telling Yaoundé that look, we will ask for a return of our institutions, including the House of Chiefs. It's not a joke. It has something to do. The chiefs that we're talking today are no longer the chiefs of 1960. They are not the ones of 1960. Some are younger than me, than most of us.
All right.
But
yeah.
But there are institutions. There are institutions that should be respected. If properly schooled, if properly respected, they would be very, very useful. They don't need to go back to school to become to know it.
All right.
So, as I said, symbols count a lot.
Barrister Mbesi, before
Again,
you go,
I said yesterday, and I want to conclude this point on that.
Okay.
Somebody might think that there's no difference. When myself, president of the IG, and prime minister, or of the South Carolina, there's a lot of difference.
Yeah, obviously.
Because internationally, when you say, I am the president of the interim government, to somebody else who is not part of your community, you ask, interim, when is it going to end? When is your interminacy going to end? Next year, 6 months? How long?
How long?
And this is what we're falling into. This is what we must correct. That is why I think Mr. Kobeta and his social council are listening to me. Once you fell into the idea that it could bring in the government in 6 months, another one in 2 years, another one in 4 months, you have defeated the purpose of what you have.
Now, talking about correcting and talking about symbols and all of that, has this constitution been amended before now?
I've had the opportunity to explain. This is if this amendment goes through, this will be the third amendment.
Third Amendment, okay.
Yeah, the first amendment was Lane. As I said, the interim constitution do not provide for counties and LGAs.
LGs.
Berlin provided for it. Everybody, at least most people, call them groups, have bought into the idea that counties and LGAs are the best form of organizing the people. That was the first amendment. The second amendment was Washington DC last year in the Congress,
Okay.
where we changed the Restoration Council to Interim House of
Interim
Representatives.
House of Representatives, yeah.
And then I had the opportunity to say yesterday that it did not run through our mind just 12 months ago or 10 months ago that instead of Interim House of Representatives, we would have simply said House of Representatives or House of Assembly.
As
But
easy
it
as
has
it
happened,
is,
this will
yeah.
be the third time. I hope that answers your question.
Very well, very well. And you're filled with so much knowledge, and you are a wealth of knowledge, as it were. So, I mean, we can never get enough of you. So tomorrow, I'm sure you'll be having this discussion again in another dimension ahead of the town hall, the last town hall for the year. So, Barrister Mbisi, I'm sure that you're ready for all of the questions that will come your way tomorrow for, is it pre-town hall analysis? I mean, this is where I would have to let you go of until tomorrow because we have lots and lots of other reports we must deliver this night. Thank you so much for coming on Undaunted tonight.
Thank you for having me. I wish you the best of the rest of your day.
Thank you so much.